sole proprietorship in Poland for digital specialists. In this video, I will explain which form of taxation is best to choose if you are in the digital industry. Programmer, designer, project manager, copywriter, and similar professions. We will discuss the pros and cons of each form of taxation and generally understand where to start and what steps to take if you decide to open a sole proprietorship in Poland. The first thing that is important to understand is your legal grounds. To open a sole proprietorship, you need to have certain legal grounds. Check out our other videos, there will be a hint on these topics. And step number 0 is to make sure that you definitely have legal grounds. So if you have the necessary legal grounds to open a sole proprietorship in Poland, then you can proceed. But the question arises which form of taxation to choose. There is a tax scale, flat tax and reach, out. Most of you know the analogy with FOP, who they're in Ukraine and are considering it. They are looking at reach out, but with reach out it's not that simple. Let's figure it out. So let's start with the third form. When you pay from turnover, this is reach out. Here is Poland. I remind you, the rate ranges from 2 to 17%, which you can pay from turnover. It varies depending on what you do. Very often our clients and subscribers ask, how does the state understand what I do? Very simply. Based on the types of activities you have listed and based on the invoices you issue and what you write in them. For example, you are a programmer and you issue an invoice to your client or partner and you write there, I don't know, programmer services or programming. Of some application, that's how it is. Work. And the question arises, what rate can a programmer and designer have? And here, so for a programmer, it's 12% of the turnover. Yes, I know it's painful. Yes, it's tough, but that's how things are, friends. Therefore, it's not always profitable. Next, we'll discuss why, if you are a designer, if you do UX UI design, if you are involved in, say, project management, then the rate can be 8.5% of the turnover, which is quite interesting and appealing. It's already closer, for example, to Ukraine's full list of rates under an outreach. You will find it here under the video. I will post a link. So the first thing to note is that outreach is a payment from turnover, but in addition to the payment from turnover, you will also need to make and pay ZUS. You will encounter two types of ZUS. ZUS is the social insurance fund. Firstly, there is the health contribution, which is social contributions related to health. Let's put it this way. Secondly, the fold is SOTA, a social fund. And now, somewhere around here, a video will pop up, a screenshot with a table. How much you will need to pay monthly right away depending on how much turnover you want to achieve annually. I know it's a bit complicated, yes, but there will be a table here or below the video. Please take a look, and therefore the first thing to note is this struggle with each other. The second is the pension contribution, which works in such a way that for the first 6 months you don't pay it, then you pay a reduced contribution, which is around 500 to 600 zlotys. And then you pay a contribution, a flat rate based on the minimum wage in Poland, which currently amounts to about 1,500 to 1,600 zlotys. An important point is if you requested this startup relief, not everyone asks for it. That's exactly why it's worth opening a business with us, because opening a business with us, you will definitely receive a clear, comprehensible, and final result. We will definitely help you, and you won't have these problems. Once again, the problem is simple. You expect not to pay ZUS for the first 6 months. You simply didn't check one box, and then the next month you get a bill from ZUS for 1,500 zlotys. These are the kind of unfortunate cases that happen. In summary, reach out from turnover. These are the three components. The percentage you pay from turnover depends on what you do. Most likely it will be either 12% of turnover or 8.5%. Second, you will face a contribution. You remember that table, right? you will either pay approximately 600 zlotys per month as a contribution from another source, or over 1,000 zlotys per month if your income exceeds 300,000 zlotys per year. And the last third component of the payment you will face is the contribution from PUEJ. If everything is done correctly, then for the first 6 months it's 0, then 500 zlotys, and then approximately 1,500 zlotys. That's the full breakdown in one video, guys. But that's not all. We still have 2 more forms of taxation to cover. I have a lot to tell you, my friends. The whole lot. But for that to happen, there's an instruction below the video on how to do it. Go to my Instagram, send me the secret numbers in a private message, and receive an amazing bonus. Just awesome. Awesome. All right, let's get back to the next forms of taxation. And attention, we have the linear tax coming up, commonly known as the line. The essence of the line is that you are not limited in how much net profit you want to declare, but you pay quite a bit. Significant taxes. Let's figure out why. So the linear tax tells us the following. You have the option to pay 19% PIT. This is the income tax for an individual. Private. Invoice tax. And you have an additional layer in the form of a contribution called ZUS, which is 4.9% of the amount. Summing it all up, according to the linear tax from net profit, importantly, from net profit, you are looking at 23.9%, which is almost 24% of the net profit. What is net profit, Stas? I've never dealt with this before. Let me explain. Net profit is when you keep a record of income and expenses. You have some income that a client or your employer has paid you. You have some expenses, for example, for a car, for conducting this activity. You bought yourself a laptop or leased it, paying for it monthly. All of these are your business expenses. All of this is summed up, subtracted from each other, and you get the net profit. That's the net profit. You pay 23.9%. And if you don't have a net profit, then at the very least, you will still be. At the very least, you'll be charged about 320 zlotys per month. This is the minimum amount of ZUS that you will still need to pay under the flat tax. That's the deal. So, moving on to the third form of taxation, which is actually the first one. Yes, it's mentioned everywhere, in all articles and writings. It's called the tax scale. And the essence of it is that you also pay from the net profit, meaning income minus expenses equals net profit. But it's super complicated, with some benefits, perks, and features that you can use if they suit you. Let's figure out why. So, first of all, there is a non-taxable minimum. Up to 30,000 zlotys per year you can avoid paying the PID tax under this form of taxation. This doesn't apply to you, so we'll skip it. I'm sure you all earn more. In general, within this form of taxation, there are 2 limits. This is net profit up to 120,000 zlotys per year. And everything above that, up to 120K per year, you will pay 12 plus 9% of the net profit, 12 PID, 9% ZUS contributions from the gross. All this amounts to 21% of the net profit. From these 120,000 zlotys, you will pay 21%. From this, there's a complex formula, subtracting the non-taxable minimum, these 30,000 zlotys. But to avoid confusing you now, let's fixate on this. The question arises, okay, I don't have 120,000, but let's say I have 200,000. I earned it, I'm awesome, I worked hard and earned 200,000. From the 120,000, you will pay, this 21% is from everything above, that is from the remaining 80,000. You will pay, let me quickly calculate for you, you will pay 32 plus and 9, which equals 41% of the net profit within these remaining 80,000. But Naha, father, didn't see, so guys, it's all complicated, but there's no choice, there's no choice. If you don't figure this out, you'll come to Poland and you'll get ripped off here just like that. You'll get ripped off by accounting, you'll get ripped off by some intermediaries, contractors who will make boots for you, or bank statements, or find apartments for you. For a 5,000 zloty commission, someone will come later and say, why didn't you pay us, huh, you Scrooge? So please take this seriously. You're not in your own country, you're in Poland, where you need to take these things seriously. I ask you, be reasonable and come to us. We will help you do all this calmly, excellently, and clearly. We will onboard you and you will really enjoy it and pay less in taxes. What are the features within the tax scale? So, there is a limit of 120,000 zlotys, but if you have a spouse or partner who is not working, you can add them. How to expand this limit? To 240,000 zlotys in this system. Thus, you can pay from 240,000 zlotys. 21% instead of, for example, the linear tax, which is almost 24%. Well, we save a small percentage there. This is the first such feature. The second feature, you can have not this 30,000 zlotys, not taxed minimum within the PIT framework. Well, you save a little on taxes there too. Summarizing this whole story, the question arises, Stas, everything is clear, but kind of nothing is clear. Let's figure it out, yes. If you have nothing to deduct as expenses and you are comfortable paying 12%, for example, from the turnover plus the ZUS, I mentioned, then we friends choose the reach out. If you have and will have something to deduct as expenses, then we choose one of the previous forms of taxation, flat tax or linear tax. When it comes to the linear tax and flat tax, the choice between them is as follows. I want to earn definitely more than 120,000 zlotys per year. It will be 200, 300, 500,000 zlotys per year. Then we go for the linear tax. I am not sure how much I will be earning yet. I have a husband or wife who can be added to my system to extend this limit further. In that case, let's go out for the flat tax, the first form of taxation. Well, friends, there's a lot I want to say. For example, how to pay my 5% of turnover in Poland, like we did in Ukraine before the war, just 5% of the turnover. I can explain how to optimize taxation within ePay and your activities. Of course, I want to share what can be written off as expenses. Can I write off the apartment where I live and work, the activity, and which I indicated as the place where I conduct my business or not, and I earn a lot and want to buy a BMW X6. How can I write it off for my business activities, and is it even possible to do so? And then everything depends on you. Write in the comments which topics. The mentioned points you would be interested in exploring further, and I will definitely make a video for you. Like subscribe to the channel if you need help with registration, and P. In Poland you know where to turn to.